Next, we'll click over to comp number 4, our single takoyaki character. If we take a look at the paint options now, they're grayed out. We need to switch over to our paintbrush. So again, select from our toolbar and it becomes active. We'll double-click on takoyaki to bring up his layer window. Again, I'll use the Alt key and the / so I can see all of him inside the window. Because I'm using a tablet, you'll see my cursor jump around in this lesson. Before, we painted on the channels for red, green, blue, and the alpha channel. That means as we paint, we're painting everywhere on this layer. We'll use Ctrl-Z to undo this. If we change the channels from red, green, blue, and alpha to just the red, green, and blue channels, when you try to paint anywhere there is a transparency, you can see that it doesn't affect the layer. However, if I paint where there's opacity, the paint stroke does affect the red, green, and blue channels. This is particularly useful if I need to repaint his legs. So here underneath, I can paint his legs without changing the alpha channel for the surrounding pixels. I'll undo these 2 brush strokes and take a look at the alpha channel. The last option here is the ability to paint the alpha channel. Notice when we select Paint Alpha Channel, the color chips change from our color to white and black, or black and white if we flip them. We know that painting with the black in the alpha channel is going to obscure the pixels, and painting with white will reveal them. So, by painting with black here in the middle of my frame, I can see that I'm cutting out a shape on the red, green, and blue channels, but I'm not actually painting any color onto the layers. If I switch this and paint with white instead, I'll start to reveal those pixels once again. We'll undo these 2 brush strokes by using Ctrl-Z or Command-Z on the Mac. Now with the ability to paint on the channels, we can change this from red, green, blue, alpha to red, green, blue, or just the alpha to modify the paintbrush and how the paintbrush affects our layer. Note that it doesn't matter how I apply the paintbrush here in the options, because I can always change this later on in the timeline. Here I'll create a paintbrush stroke along his right leg. If I open up the options for this layer, I see that there are 3 brush strokes for this effect. Brush stroke 1 and 2 are probably errant strokes, and I don't want those. Before I delete those, I can see where they are by clicking on the brush name. Alternatively, I can turn off the visibility of any one of these brushes to see where they might be. Brush 1 is over on the side, and it's a brush stroke that exists but doesn't have any value over the alpha channels. If I open this up and take a look at my stroke options, I can see here down in the bottom that it's painting in the RGB only and not in the RGB and the alpha channel. I can switch this so that it appears both in the RGB and the alpha channel. Switching it back to where it was before gives it no power over the alpha channel when it's transparent. I'll choose brush 1 and delete it using the backspace. Brush 2 is a small erase stroke, and I'll click this and erase that as well. Brush 3 could be used as is, or I could set the transfer mode of brush 3 to change the color of the leg. I can change the transfer mode of brush 3 here in the timeline, or even change the way the brush stroke options occur for whether it appears on the channels for red, green, and blue, red, green, blue, and alpha, or just the alpha channel alone. We'll switch it back to red, green, blue only so that it only appears where the pixels for our original image appear. Remember, we can animate all of these parameters, and together it will extend your tool set for not only creating brush strokes that appear on your layer, but also can change the alpha channel of your layer as well.